Hello and welcome to another episode of Erongo Talk. I'm your host, Irene Marie van der Walt, and I'm joining you from the Bison Bistro and Cafe in Swakopmund today. In today's episode, Vadi Phil will be chatting about the recent labor issues in Swakopmund and tell us about how Namibia can become more economically emancipated. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. And now it is time for your news. In our first story for today, if the survival of elephants and other game species are to be ensured in a sustainable manner, Namibia has to accept that unpopular decisions in the public eye need to be taken. This is according to the Namibia Professional Hunting Association, known as NAFA, which issued a statement with regards to the public outcry of the sale of 170 Namibian elephants. NAFA said that the sale of the elephants from different parts of Namibia has resulted in a major uproar, especially on social media. At the beginning of last December, the Environment Ministry advertised a tender putting 170 elephants up for sale in response to the drought and the increase in animal numbers coupled with human-elephant conflict incidences. These elephants are from Omachete, Grootfontein, Kavango Cattle Ranch and the Grootfontein Tumkwe areas, as well as from the Kamanyap commercial farming area. NAFA said bluntly put, the removal of the elephants from the identified hotspots will have no effect whatsoever on the elephant population at large. In no way does it jeopardize elephant conservation in protected areas or in communal conservancies. Moving on to our second story, aside from 8 drug dealers being arrested during the course of last week, in which police confiscated about 77,000 Namibian dollars worth of drugs, 2 more arrests were made over the weekend. According to Deputy Commissioner Erastus Ikuyu, Regional Crime Investigations Coordinator, a 23-year-old was arrested for being in possession of cannabis during the early morning hours of Sunday. At around 15 minutes past 2 on Sunday, the man was arrested in Narraville after he was found to be in possession of 4 bankies of cannabis, about 210 grams, valued at about $10,500. He will appear in the Walvis Bay Magistrates Court today. In a separate incident, a 23-year-old man was arrested in Mondesa, Swakopmund, for also being in possession of cannabis. Ikuyu stated that the arrest took place at around 11:30 in Swakopmund on Saturday, after the suspect was found in possession of 1 bankie of cannabis, around 10 grams, valued at $500 Namibian. He will appear also in the Swakopmund Magistrates Court today. In our third story for today, another weekend of cricket action drew to a close on Sunday. The Walvis Bay-based MR247 Welwitschers travelled to Windhoek this weekend to play a 50-overs cricket Premier League game against United, with the latter clinching victory over the visitors by 8 wickets. In the first 40 overs Coastal League game, Sparta 2 played against the Ochu Northern Leopards, and Sparta suffered the same fate as the MR247 Welwitschers when they lost by 8 wickets against Ochu. For the Ochu Northern Leopards, their captain Pieter Schmidt was the best bowler, securing 3 wickets and 29 run-offs 8 overs. For Sparta, Manus van Niekerk managed 41 run-off 7.2 overs, securing the title as best bowler for the match. And that concludes your news for today.
We're joined here today by political analyst Vadi Phil. Going into the cracks of the matters, Mr. Phil, there has been several labor issues happening here in Swakopmund. For example, the Swakopmund strike, as well as the situation at Rossing. After years of oppression, why do you think that the workers have started to stand up for their rights?
So 30 years of independence, 30 years of independence. Are we liberated? That is the question. Are our workers liberated? Do they feel the freedom? That is one thing that we all disagree on, if we are to be honest with ourselves. So they tell us to be content. They tell people, no, we are not content with what we get. Then they start referring the people to look at Zimbabwe, look at Zambia, look at Angola, or look at Somalia. This is what they start comparing us to. But the question is, why don't they tell us, look at what's happening in Singapore? Look at what's happening in Europe. Look at what's happening in Dubai. Why don't they compare our workers like the workers there? Are they being exploited like that? Surely no. When last did you hear of a strike in Dubai because the workers are not being paid? When last did you hear of that? And this is the things that our workers are really tired of. You've got unfair dismissals. You've got people who are being intimidated at their workplaces on a daily basis. What is the answer? What has to happen? So the workers don't even trust the government anymore. Most of them also don't even trust their own unions anymore, because their unions don't even stand for them anymore. Look at the Mining Workers Union of Namibia's branch executive committee that was dismissed at the Rosing uranium mine. All 9 members of this BEC were dismissed, but the mother body of that union does not even make any statement about it. And this is the problem we are facing. Surely this is why we see the workers striking. This is why we see an uprising when it comes to workers fighting for their rights.
Yes, indeed. And Namibia remains one of the most unequal countries economically, despite having the tag of a middle income country. What can be done to address this kind of economical inequality in this country?
And the poor, that gap between the rich and the poor in Namibia, yeah, definitely, we all know it's continuously increasing. And the reason why it's increasing is because of what you call social injustice. And this is something that our government is not fighting. Definitely, they are not fighting it. So, how do we fight it? We go to the constitution, we start amending. We amend things to work in the interest of the poor also. Our constitution is too much of protection to the elites. It's too much of protection to the rich in the society, to the politicians. But the poor people, it does not really work in their interest. Imagine a law that was drafted during the colonial era called the Squatters Proclamation Act tells you that you have to go remove that person that occupies unoccupied land. You have to go remove them. They cannot stay there. That's what you tell them. But there's no law that says that the guys who took the land illegally during the time of before independence should be the land should be expropriated from them. So this is why we face social injustice, simply because it's about protecting the interest of the elites and not the poor in society. So what I say on this one is definite. If we want to narrow that gap, we need to change the law. The law has to be amended. So a lot has to be done. There's always gonna be security guards. There's always gonna be cleaners. But the reality is that, are we gonna have the happy cleaners? Are we gonna have the happy security guards? What are we gonna do about it? It has to start with us changing that constitution, surely.
Um, So Namibians have now started to wake up after the fish rot has was exposed through Al Jazeera, and many more millions have gone missing, obviously through the Cora Awards, the SME Bank, and so on. So, what is your take on the silence surrounding the missing millions in all these organizations?
So silence. Yes, there is gonna be a whole lot of silence. Why? Because as it stands at the moment, when I did an interview, I went in the streets interviewing the people. At least 10, 8 out of 10 people would uh, say that our judiciary is captured. So that is the views of the people. And from our point as a political analyst and at the same time an activist, obviously I won't shy away from that truth that indeed we have our judiciary captured. Why do I say so? Somebody who was on at law reform, somebody who was an attorney general, somebody who was a minister of justice, finds himself implicated in corruption, whereby he used his office to politically maneuver this. You want to tell me that there was nobody in those offices that knew this was happening? So definitely our political system is captured, and that is a problem we are having. And this is why you see the silence. And there is gonna be silence because now implication on a daily basis is very high. It's almost like every ministry you find is a certain corruption happening. And what's worse is that you don't see radical actions when it comes to the corruption happening in the ministry. NDF, August 26, no arrest, no nothing. You see? Now, how do we want to take the people serious that are leading us if they are very mum on issues that are really bringing the country to its knees? The people are suffering, we are getting tough time. So it is for us then to say the judiciary is captured. So as a political analyst, that is what I believe in, and that's the cause of the silence.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Phil Vadi, a political analyst, joining us today on Erongo Talk. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back on the flip side.
And now it is time for your weather and tides from here in Swakopmund and all the other major towns in the Erongo region.
Add us on Facebook and search for us on YouTube.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter.
Contact us via WhatsApp. Our daily show starts with the Afrikaans program Soggens met Shaal, perfect for the Afrikaans lovers.
Then it's time for the women's magazine program, The Mid-Morning Breeze with Olivia.
And for the youngsters and game fanatics, join Cody on the 3 to 6 drive. West Coast FM, your host at the coast.
And that unfortunately brings us to the end of another episode of Erongo Talk, but you don't have to miss us too much until tomorrow, because you can catch up with us on WhatsApp or on Telegram and let us know what's happening in your town or your community, or get in touch for advertisement opportunities at 0811 7000 40. That's 0811 7000 40. And if tomorrow morning around 10:30 you miss us too much and you can't go a moment longer without us, you can check out Erongo 24/7's sister publication, Windhoek Express, with their show We Talk, to hold you over until 12 o'clock. So until tomorrow, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, wear your masks, sanitize your hands, maintain social distancing. Please, please be safe. We're so close to beating COVID-19. We just need to work together for this last stretch. We'll see you again tomorrow.